Hello everyone, my name is Simon, and today we're gonna take a look at a new game on Ohana LE. This is going to be a game of Starcraft 2. Two professional players duking it out on the map Ohana LE. I already said that, oh my god! Okay, it's going to be none other than Quantic.SaSe spawning in the bottom right corner of as the red PROTOSS. And his opponent for this match is going to be none other than Acer.Nerchio. This match is actually played on the cloaked version of the TSL4 map version of this map. I think I said map and version like a billion times in one sentence. Anyway, that actually means that this is either going to be some leaked out replay or this is going to be some practice games between both players. Because, well, when you play on the cloaked version of a map, it will actually not show you the build order when you go and check up someone's match history. So, yeah, normally you would not want to release replays that are played on this kind of map. However, they might be preparing for tournaments and they might be preparing some certain build orders for certain maps. And, well, maybe we'll get some interesting play right now on from both players. So, looks like Quantic.SaSe is opening up with his standard pylon in his base. Actually, SaSe did really well last weekend in MLG. I don't know if you guys been watching that, but he was at a really big tournament in Anaheim in America, and they had a really big stack tournament with a lot of Korean players, and I actually think Quantic.SaSe managed to get like 4th place or maybe 6th place. He did really well, beating a lot of really good players on the way, and I was really impressed by his play. And ever since the interviews that they gave, I've been kind of a Quantic.SaSe fan because, well, I really like the way that he talked and he approaches the game. He's a really interesting player to watch, always wearing his hat, and he also was talking about how tired he was during the event because, well, he had to play from like 5 in the afternoon till like 2 in the morning, and then the next day he had to be up at like 8 again, be at the venue at like 9. I don't know exactly what he talked about, but then it was some really crucial, some really tough play, and actually, really typical of Quantic.SaSe's play is going to be the pylon in the main base first, because he said he uses this pylon to ward off any kind of 6, 7 or 8 pool aggression. So if the Zerg player decides to go for a really early spawning pool, he can actually pop down a gateway here and actually block off most pathways that the Zerglings can run into. And then he will actually get the pylon on the low ground, followed up by a Nexus as well as a Forge and a gateway. So a little bit of an interesting different play. However, we already see some really curious play as well by Nerchio, actually going for the Roach Warren and the Gas guys really early on. So some really interesting play right there. Of course, he doesn't want this probe to scout it. If you actually go for a Gas and Roach Warren really early, this will most likely be some fake expansion right here. Right now, Quantic.SaSe expects Acer.Nerchio to actually expand right here, but apparently Nerchio decides to actually not do this, just having this drone right here to prevent any kind of, or actually to fake an expansion, while he's going to go for some really early Roach aggression, already having Overlords to 34 supply, so he has some room for some really good supply, probably gonna pump down about 7 or 8 Roaches most likely, let's see, he actually has 7 larvae right now, probably gonna use them all to become Roaches, and there we go, 6 Roaches on the production tab. Whereas Quantic.SaSe went for a really early Nexus. This could really bring some really big harm, because right now SaSe actually think this expansion is up because he pylon blocked it. There was a drone right here. There was Zerglings picking off this pylon. So really, there's nothing else that he could have faked. But man, right now actually Nerchio looking to go for a expansion right now where the Roaches are popping out. So no means, yeah, this is going to be some really aggressive play. He wants to do some really good damage with this, but it's not going to decide the game at all because he's going to follow it up with a hatchery. However, he needs to do some damage because else he will just be so far behind the PROTOSS player, already having his 3rd gas off, looking to take his 4th gas already in this game. Some really cute play and really early really gas timings right there. Actually, SaSe was really well known while the MLG event for only putting 2 drones on each gas guy. However, we see the Roach already popping in, actually trying to snipe off the cannon right away. There he goes, he's targetifying the cannon, not losing a single Roach thus far. He could actually try and reach the sentry, that'd be really good. However, he's going to pull off this pylon. 3 more cannons being warped in by SaSe, because SaSe doesn't want this, of course. He doesn't want all those Roach in his main. However, the PROTOSS player right now is out of force fields. Of course, force fields costing 50 energy. The sentries only have 20 energy both left, and they're going to be picked off as well as a lot of probes being picked off already. The cannons, however, are going to finish. The 1st cannon already finished, the 2nd cannon and the 3rd cannon is about to finish as well. So this is going to give him some Roach advantage. However, the Roach are going to walk into the main base of SaSe. The Overlord at the high ground right now, spotting everything, but the Roaches are already in the main, going to pick up so many drones, doing such good pressure already. And meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we actually see the expansion already being finished by Nerchio. Nerchio going to follow it up with a lot of Roaches, or a lot of drones rather, and not going to make any more Roaches. However, there's going to be Roaches on the high ground, going to prevent any kind of mining on those 3 mineral patches right here, because those Roaches will be able to reach them. There we go, actually. No, he's not able to reach them. Interesting. Maybe he should target fire them instead. However, we see sentries already being out as well as his stalker. So right now we see just a few Roaches ready and waiting for their death, but they did a lot of good work. They did so much damage already, and it's going to give him such a good advantage at the start of this game, because, well, even though it's probably some practice game, it's going to be a really good strategy to actually have in your arsenal of games, because, well, I'm really interested in this build that Nerchio did. I might as well make a video of that later, I'm not sure about that. But really interesting strategy, some really good Roach pressure by Nerchio. And yeah, they did a lot of damage, actually losing a lot of probes. Actually, if you check out how many Harvests were killed, oh my god, actually 20 workers killed by Nerchio. So SaSe already losing 20 probes at this point in the game. That's huge, guys. Actually losing another one right there. So they're gonna up for 21 drones versus 0. And actually on the other side of the map we already see the 3rd hatchery going to go down by Nerchio. Already having a lot of more Zerglings to defend any of those Stalker if they decide to move out right now. But man, this is going to be so hard to pull back from Quantic.SaSe. But of course, he's a professional player. He's been in this situation before. He knows how to deal with it. He knows how to do it. So if anyone can do it, it's basically just Quantic.SaSe. So we have to see how he's going to be pulling back from this. However, he's probably going to sit back for the time being. Actually, being really ballsy right here, moving out those what are they called? Stalkers right now, because the Zerglings are going to see them and they're just going to surround those Stalkers, I think. Yeah, they already have speed upgrades. So yeah, both Stalkers are going to go down. Really good win right there again by Nerchio. Nerchio is now up 67 supply and his opponent only 34 supply right now, having a few sentries out. But that's basically it. Let's check the unit tab, and actually yeah, it's only 3 sentries, 28 probes right now versus already 48 drones. So really big advantage already there by for Nerchio rather. Already getting the 3rd and 4th or the 5th and 6th gods even up. As well as the Lair is about to finish. Probably gonna go for, yeah, there we go. We see the Spire going down. At this point he could either choose for going Spire or Infestor Tech. Which is really common on 6 gases, but he decides to go for Spire Tech. And only thing that SaSe could do right now is actually build Stargates, because if he's going to build Stargates right now, he could be producing Phoenixes. And pretty good Phoenixes are really good against any kind of Mutalisk play. However, even in really big numbers, they will be able to pick off, or the Mutalisk will be able to pick off the Phoenixes. So it's going to be really hard how he's going to respond to this. However, we see a Overseer right now going to detect anything that's going on in the base of SaSe. SaSe making a few more gateways, trying to get up an upgrade. This is going to be ground weapon upgrade level 1. But man, this is going to be so hard to pull back from, because, well, Nerchio already doubling SaSe in supply, having a bigger army, having bigger advantage. Actually, I wonder if SaSe scouted this, because he's going for double gateway or Stargate right now. No, I actually didn't see this fire. So that's going to be some really lucky play, actually. We could call this lucky. Maybe he knows Nerchio's playstyle and he can expect this kind of play. But man, versus Infestus, this kind of double Stargate play would have just been the end of the game already. But of course, since he is so far behind, he needs to take some kind of risk. And I guess he decides to just get the double Stargate up and see if he is lucky today. However, we see some really good creep spread already going on by the Zerg player. Probably going to be able to catch off some of those Phoenixes if they fly over creep with some queens and whatnot. Already some Mutalisk in production. We actually see 7 more in production. Already a bunch of them out. Right now actually already 12 of them. So that's some really good aggressive play right now. Going to go for the Link combination in combination with Mutalisk. And as we all know, that's like the most mobile army the Zerg arsenal has to offer. Because Zerglings are incredibly quick. And Mutalisk are incredibly quick as well. So both players choosing are actually Nerchio choosing a really aggressive position right now, whereas SaSe is deciding to go for some really defensive position. However, the first Stalkers are already, or the first Phoenixes are already out, being complemented by a lot of Stalkers and actually warding off the Mutalisk for now, but actually keep in mind, Nerchio doesn't have to trade fair right now. He can just basically sacrifice his army if he is going to be able to kill all the stalkers of SaSe, because well, then all that's left on the map is going to be some really good tech by Nerchio, as well as a lot of Zerglings. However, he's not going to sacrifice his army, of course. Already 3 Phoenixes out, going to be joined up by 2 more relatively soon. There the next one is already going to go out. Let's see if he's going to build more Phoenixes. That's going to be the interesting part right now. Is he going to commit those Phoenixes, or is he going to instead go for some Blink Stalker maybe? We'll have to see about that. However, we already see the 4th base being finished by Nerchio. Nerchio just pouring on more and more base, also taking a 5th hatchery already. Some really early 5th base play, but as you can see in the supply right now, it's going to be 172 supply versus only 92. So he's basically already 80 supply ahead, which is a lot of supply. So we see some more pressure right now by Nerchio, just trying to pick up Stalkers where he can and trying to pick up Phoenixes where he can, because well, if those Phoenixes die, those Mutalisks will rain freely across the map. 8 more Mutalisks on the map, on the production tab, because well, the more Phoenixes or the more Mutalisk he has, just the stronger his ball will be right now. Already having a Zergling at the 3rd base, spotting for any kind of 3rd nexus going up, so he can snipe it off right away. And really aggressive play, but really good play, really solid play by Nerchio. Opening up with those roaches was a really good play, because well, turns out he is far ahead right now. I really liked it. I'm really interested how he exactly did it, and I really want to check out that build order. So right now we see the 5th base already finishing up. We see drones being transferred right there. Probably just gonna use all those drones to actually mine the gas geysers, because well, he probably wants to go up for a hive tech really soon. Maybe get some Broodlords out or some Ultralisk, depending on what he likes. But most likely gonna stick on those Mutalisks for just a while longer, because well, he has so many. Already also putting up 11 Hydralisk on the production tab right now. Really interesting play, because well, those Zerglings, Mutalisk and Hydralisk are going to be hard counted by the unit that SaSe is producing right now, which is going to be, where are they? I can't find them. Where are you? Oh, I actually decided to get a Archon instead. However, I wanted to say, all units that Nerchio has right now are going to be hard counted by the Psionic Storm that SaSe will be having soon on the High Templars. Of course, really good against Hydralisk, Mutalisk and Zerglings. However, we already see the Zerg player almost being maxed right now, getting a lot of spine crawls up right now just for that little bit of defense, and he is probably looking to go ahead and actually engage this army of SaSe, because well, this is all SaSe has. He's going to not be able to get a 3rd base up anytime soon, because well, it's going to be 5 base against 2 base right now, and it's going to be really hard to pull back from this. However, he still has a small chance if he has some perfect force fields, as well as the Archons being pulled into the fray properly, as well as a little bit of a mistake by Nerchio. He's actually able to win this game still, because well, PROTOSS death balls are really strong. If he actually had some really Colossi right now, that would be really useful, because that would just add up so much DPS into this army right here. However, we don't see anything of that. We see Archons instead, of course, also being very strong. Also, we see still a lot of Phoenixes going down. Going to actually pick up a few overloads, supply blocking Nerchio for just a second, where he already produces more and more overloads. So right now he's actually going to scout this base. Yeah, he's going to see it right now. Most likely going to pick it up right away as soon as he can. Yeah, this base is definitely going to go down. Nerchio not going to commit to this at all. Actually, we see a observer right here into this army. So SaSe actually knows exactly where the army is positioned. He's following the Mutalisk. So really good observer placement right there by SaSe, because this is going to give him a good indication of where the army exactly is. More and more aggression by the Mutalisk. However, he's going to be out-microed by all those Phoenixes. Phoenixes, of course, being able to shoot and move at the same time. However, there seems to be so many Mutalisks right now that they aren't able to actually pick them off anymore. Nice micro there by Nerchio. Nerchio trying to pick off as many Phoenixes as he can. Because, well, once those Phoenixes die, he can actually move into the main, pick off a Stalker here and there, and just keep producing more and more Mutalisks. And those Phoenixes are pretty much all that's preventing him from not raining across the map freely. Actually, he's already raining across the map right now. However, we see the 3rd base being taken by SaSe, and SaSe is going to be able to just cancel this Nexus, I hope, because he's counter-attacked by the Zergling Jet there. The Nexus is being cancelled, and well, he's going to pick up a few more piles even. It's going to give him such a nice advantage. However, the army managed to pull back, so maybe he's actually able to kill this army. Some nice force fields right there for preventing a few Zerglings. Another nice force field right there on the ramp, preventing Zerglings from actually running away. It's really cool play right there. However, we see Mutalisk meanwhile being able to get work done in the main base, trying to pick off the Templar Archive, preventing any kind of high Templars to being produced in the future. So right now, man, he's going to pick up so much stuff. And right now, actually, we see 44 Hardfasters being killed in total. However, we see a big attack right now by the PROTOSS player, probably going to take out his base as well, because, well, Zerg players don't want to attack up this ramp. I actually wonder why Nerchio didn't kill those rocks yet. That's a little bit curious. However, we see this base going down as well by the Zerg player, as well as losing everything he has at this base right now. It's going to be only 3 bases up for the Zerg player. However, the big Zergling counterattack going to be happening once again. Probably going to pick off this Nexus, just as he already did earlier, and he's not going to drop below 200 supply at all. Still maxed the supply, 200 supply for the Zerg player, man. Such solid play by Nerchio, I gotta say. Even though he loses all those bases, he's not going to actually slip up. He's going to just make sure he's always 1 base ahead. He's just like, yeah, okay, I lose 2 bases, but as long as you don't expand to your 3rd base, I will be totally fine with that. So actually, he's trapped kind of with those Zerglings right now, so that's going to actually give him a little bit of a problem right now. However, man, he's not going to matter. He's just going to max up with more and more roaches right now, actually getting more and more spine crawlers as well, while moving his army back into the spine crawler line right here. As soon as the PROTOSS player actually tries to enter these spine crawlers right here, he's just going to fungal them and move back with his army, using the spine crawlers to do so much DPS. And of course, in Starcraft 2, you can only have 200 supply as maximum supply. So after that, you actually go into spine crawlers, because spine crawlers are static buildings. They are considered buildings, and therefore they are not part of your army, where you can just, so in this way you can actually get more and more stuff. I already actually see 3 Nexus going up right here by SaSe. Probably going to have a little bit of a problem right here. More and more Mutalisk going to pick off as much stuff as they can. Actually, do we have any probes left just now? No, only 3 probes left right now for the PROTOSS player. So this is going to be the entire army that he is going to be able to deal with. It's going to be only 116 supply. The Mutalisk meanwhile picking off everything in the main, and this is probably going to come down to one big engagement right here. The engagement that Nerchio has been waiting for all game. That he has been preventing any kind of pressure all game long, and it's doing really well. However, he's going to get fungled up right there. Really beautiful fungos on all the zealots. Not going to be able to pull into the fight right now. Already weakening up them so greatly. Getting an under fungal right now, and it's just going to be so much stuff. SaSe is not going to be able to deal with this, and we can expect GG any moment right now. Solid play by Nerchio. I'm really impressed, and I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I see you soon, guys. Bye!